Welcome to Local Game Group, I'm your host Patrick Marlette, and today we're doing something a little differently. Normally I like to stream the One Piece content here to work on these lists with you guys and of course try to build out the best play lines for the latest leaders and or older leaders that are coming to the forefront with newer cards. And the main reason we're not doing this live stream is that I've kind of cracked the code on it. I think we'll see how well we do with it today. But as with every deck list on this channel, consider this a blueprint. This is something I've worked on for a few weeks now, and I like to think I have the formula down. But if you have your own Gecko Moria list and or going into OP06 when it releases here in the West, you have a list that you enjoy playing, let us know what that is in the comments, and of course feel free to share your deck list with us. Beyond the deck profile today, and of course the early to late game strategy for Gecko Moria, we will be playtesting this so you can see exactly how my list performs. So without further ado, let's take a look at the list, and of course the leader himself, Gecko Moria. So 5,000 power, 5 life, mono black, awesome. For 1 Dawn, when attacking you can pay 2, so that's 3 Dawn total. Discard 1 card from your hand. Put the top 2 cards of your deck into the trash and play 1 Thriller Bark Pirates character with a cost of 4 less from your trash. The thing you discard does not need to be Thriller Bark Pirate, but I highly encourage you do make it that, just so you can be consistent with having a play off of this effect. Now we've seen similar effects in the past with one of my personal favorite decks, OP01's Doflamingo, which was mono blue, and more recently with green yellow Arlong, who cheated in characters from your hand. I've played both of those decks. I can say that I enjoyed Doflamingo more. I feel like the card pool was stronger there. Arlong is getting progressively better and will only get better with more trigger characters, but Gecko Moria in a fixed set with only a handful of Thriller Bark Pirate cards is phenomenal, and I want to go over all of the reasons why. You're likely already noticing in OP05 the strengths of decks like Sakazuki in blue-black, leveraging all those great black combos, specifically with Rob Lucci and Rebecca. You'll notice Rebecca's in here, Rob Lucci is not, and we'll get into why that is. Of course, I'll tell you where you can slot it in and what the flex spots for this particular list are. But I'm emphasizing this because black is very strong now, and it's gotten even better with 06, with some of the utilities that Gecko gets to play with. And on that note, I think it's only appropriate we start with all of the combos that exist in this deck, and we might as well talk on Rebecca because it is the card we should be most familiar with in paper. She's 4 for 0. It's okay, she's blocker, so you get some value there, and she's a 1k counter in hand. On play, return up to 1 black character other than Rebecca with a cost of 3 to 7 from the trash to your hand, which is fantastic. It hits most of our stuff. And then play 1 3 or less black character from your hand to the field rested. Generally speaking, I like to play Kobe from my hand. He's a 3 for 4, 1k counter in hand as well, and he gets to trash a card to KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. To be frank, trashing a card, not as bad in black these days. There's even a card that really helps with the early game trashing effects, and that card is Mancheri. Also something we're off. I've tested both Rob Lucci and Mancheri in this deck. I really prefer the list without those two, and again, we can get into why later, but there's a lot of recovery effects. So this combo with Rebecca is fantastic. The normal bread and butter these days is with Hina from starter set 6, who is right here. 3 for 5, no counter power. On play, give up to one of your opponent's characters -4 to their cost. This is really good in blue-black Sakazuki because you are essentially cycling through your list trying to find those removal pieces. Here it's less consistent, and the thing we're normally hitting is Absalom, which is just okay removal, but we also have Kobe and Sakazuki and Tote, so there are still plays for Hina. If you want to slot it into the list, you can. However, I kind of like the combos you can get out of Helmeppo. The next synergy I want to discuss, it's not necessarily a combo, though she can fit into certain combos, is Sindri. If your leader is Thriller Bark Pirates, fantastic, trash the top 5 cards of your deck. You want to do that on turn 1 pretty much every game, but it synergies extremely well with Oars. Oars, 4 for 7, is the strongest vanilla creature we've seen that is the highest rate. However, there is a setback. It cannot attack unless you sacrifice one of your Thriller Bark type characters. More oftentimes than not, you're having to sacrifice the Hogback or Perona or Absalom, hopefully after getting an attack, to go off with him. But if you play your turns out properly, you should have a Sindri there to sacrifice to Oars, which is great value. If you happen to Dawn up the Sindri and get a little bit more value out of her, even better. But what's great about this is that Gecko can bring back Sindri and or anything else from your graveyard to fill up your graveyard, get some form of value, and be fodder for ores on the next attack. Once you've committed to ores early game, it's really difficult for your opponents to remove unless they're knotting up quite a bit to get there or using events that work on the main to raise their power to remove it. So that's a fantastic synergy for the list. And now for the real combos in this deck, the ones that make it shine and make it so fun to play. We have the new secret rare Gecko Moria. So it's 8 for 9k power. On play, choose up to 1 cost 4 or less and up to 1 2 or less character from your trash. Play one of them and then the remaining rested. So that could be the 4 upright, the other one rested, and or vice versa. You get to elect how that works out. And as we play through games today, I'll talk through the choices I make and which one's rested, which one's not. But Rebecca, Helmeppo, and Kobe. So what's cool about this is Kobe could have been discarded on a previous turn, or it could be in your hand, but based off of Gecko Moria's ability, we can play out Rebecca, not rested, right, ready to block, and then Helmeppo, rested. Helmeppo lets us bring something down 3 levels, which is fantastic for removing a lot of mid-game plays, right? So if we play this out, we can kill a 6 and under level character with Kobe alone. And this isn't to mention the Great Eruption over here, or just playing an additional Suru or anything else that's going to level reduce in the deck on that turn, right? So Helmeppo plus Rebecca plus Kobe, you're getting to play 1 character and you're building out a board of 4 characters to include Gecko Moria on that 1 combo alone. So you have a blocker, you have a 3k, a 4k, a 9k, and you've likely removed the biggest threat from your opponent unless they have a 7 or higher character, which we'll have to deal with later. The next combo is simply just playing Kobe and Helmeppo out. Again, this is why I value Helmeppo just a little bit more than Hina in this particular list, because of the combos with Gecko Moria. Yes, being able to punch 1 level higher with Hina's effect and just having a 3 for 5 vanilla is generally better, but you'll notice we don't run any events outside of Great Eruption, so having the 1k counter in hand with Helmeppo is actually really crucial. And you'll notice all of these combos are relying on our trash, so Helmeppo is winding up where we want him anyways. But I generally play Kobe upright, Helmeppo rested, kill the 6k or less, good value. We like this. But there is a Thriller Bark Pirate character we can actually play into this combo, and that is Absalom instead. Now, the only issue here is that he only kills 2 or less, so you'll only kill a 5 and under, but a majority of the best blockers that you'll see in this game are 5 cost and under. Yes, there are film decks that rely on 7 cost blocker Luffy, but it's infrequent unless you play against a lot of Utas, which is a menace in and of itself, and maybe we'll face one today and see how this deck fares. But Absalom upright, Helmeppo rested, kill another thing. That's another combo you can do. We're only on 3 Absalom. I honestly prefer just having the Sakazuki Kobes as our removal late game. You generally don't rely on Absalom too much, but when he does come down, it'll help to clear out some of those earlier board states, especially against lists like Zoro. Red-Green Law, I haven't fought too many of in 06, but if we were fighting a traditional build, Absalom will be good for picking that board apart as well. Lastly, a really good combo is just to play out a Perona. You can play a Perona or Hogback. I would suggest Perona to get your opponent to trash a card if they have 5 or more cards in hand, rested, and then play Cerberus out. So you'll have a 2k blocker. He will die for the most part. You're never going to try to save Cerberus, but you have a chump blocker on the back end of decent removal from your opponent. It's like a duress from Magic. Or you can use Hogback to just place a 2k counter into your hand. It could be your early game Sindri. It could be your Perona. It's ridiculous how these 2k counters are also just amazing value on their own. These are some of the best 2k counters in the game right now, or I should say in the game in the future, if you're watching this now. Enjoy this list on Sim. Again, I'm really excited to see what you guys are doing with this list, but that covers all of the combos. All I really want to do now is just discuss the early game. So turn 1, on or off play, turn 2, on or off play, and we're going to get up to turn 4 before just getting into games and showing you how this list plays. But early game should really start with Sindri. If it's 2 Sindris, if you're off play, fantastic. If it's 1 Sindri, fantastic. It's really not a detriment to let this 2k out of your hand early. I know it feels counter to what you generally do. You like to hold on to your 2k counters so you get some value out of them from like just combat tricks, making your things survive, making sure you have enough life at the end state. But with Hogback, we'll be able to get these back, provided we need them for that, and we really do want to fill up our trash. You'll notice that I'm not using any of the sort of traditional cards. I've seen people use a Nupe. I find this card to be garbage in most cases. Trash, literally. And Tararan. Neither of these two are good in my opinion. Yes, they're playable off of the stage for Thriller Bark Pirates, which we can talk about later. But generally speaking, I don't find these to be useful. So I like to run just Sindri and or brand new. I generally like to have at least 16 cards that a searcher can hit. And in brand new's case, it's look at the top 3, and it's not like the traditional look at the top 5. The benefit here though, and the reason I do like brand new, is the fact that even if we fail to find, which will happen, we're still filling up our trash in the same way that a Nupe or a Tararan would do, which is totally fine in my book. It's a good way to find some of our removal pieces near the end of the game, especially if we want to just get it as a free play off of Rebecca. It's very good in that regard. Also, if it is off the free play from Rebecca, you'll have 6 Dawn left to play your Sakazuki, so very good combo there as well. That's what your turn 1 should look like. Turn 2 has 3 big plays. They all will rely on Gecko Moria, so if for some reason you can't attack with Gecko Moria, I'm sorry, but you're going to want to pull out either Perona to get some early discard going. Trust me, opponents hate it. It's especially good against lists that run out of steam mid to late game. Having them discard early is fantastic. You're going to do that, Hogback to pull back any additional Synergies that might have been trashed from your earlier Sindri. And one of the best lines of play is just playing out Ors. Ors is really fantastic in this list, particularly with Gecko Moria's ability. You're always able to get some value out of there. So even if it's having to just play Perona to make them discard and sacrificing her to Ors, it's all for the better. Trust me, you're going to want to be swinging with a 7k as early as possible. And by turn 3, that's massive value. I like this card a lot. If you don't like it, you could opt it out for Lola. I've used both. I find that with the right curve, Ors is just a better character, but Lola is also really good value in the hand because it does have the 1k counter attached to it. So do bear that in mind. Turn 3 is our 5 to 6 Dawn turn, and generally speaking, the same goes for this turn as it did for turn 2. Your Ors, your Hogback, and your Perona are still really good hits, but I would say Absalom comes into play more at this moment. We have fewer numbers of them because I'm not interested in hitting him early on. Generally speaking, I like to use him to remove chump blockers my opponents might be posing, and or use him in tandem with, say, Suru or Helmeppo or Great Eruption to punch a little bit higher. So this is that Rob Lucci spot where I think that it's not wrong to go with either one of these two. This is the Rob Lucci I'm referring to. We're not going as wide, though, with our amount of level reduction as, say, a Sakazuki would. And I found that I'm normally only hitting the one thing anyways with this specific build. So I find just having Absalom as another returnable piece of removal, reoccurring piece of removal, has been better. Because once Rob Lucci's in the grave, you can use Gecko Moria, yes, to bring him back, and I do mean the 8-cost Gecko Moria. And of course, you can use Rebecca to do the same thing, and he could be the thing you discard from Gecko Moria. I just like the versatility of Absalom in this particular build. But then again, you can switch this out for Rob Lucci. It's totally fine. The other playable on this turn, whether it's 5 Dawn, or rather, it needs to be specifically 6 Dawn in this instance, is going to be Sakazuki. Sakazuki is an oldie and a goldie from OP02. This is the set I got into, and I remember thinking that this guy was amazing back then. If it weren't for the fact you had to trash cards, well, it's all right because you're still getting value out of those trash cards, right? I love the fact that they're adding so many good recovery effects, again, like Mancherry, like Rebecca, to black. So the detriment of having to trash a card is not that bad. Plus, it just fuels Gecko Moria, and I mean both of them. This is a great play on curve to remove any threats that your opponents might have played mid-game. Also, you're going to want to play it later, right? It's like out of your grave, or retrieve it later, rather, out of your grave. So getting it down early, swinging with it, letting it die, and recovering it with Rebecca, just means that you have another way to remove big threats late game. And lastly, turn 3 could also just amount, and this is maybe as soon as I would want to play her, Rebecca. You could do Rebecca and the same combo I was referring to earlier, Rebecca Kobe, to remove some threats from your opponent's board. Of course, if you're looking at your Dawn count, you should have 5 to 6 Dawn at this point. So you could use this in tandem with Great Eruption or Suru or Helmeppo and punch a little bit higher. Helmeppo might be overkill at this point if your opponent is coming off a turn 3 or 4 Dawn turn. So obviously you're not going to need to go overkill unless you just want the body there. However, killing a 3 or less on this turn for free and having a block to protect it is fantastic value. You might even just let Kobe die. We'll see if we let Kobe die. And lastly, turn 4 should be Gecko Moria. It just should be Gecko Moria. Sometimes you don't hit it off the Sindri, or sometimes you might be unfortunate enough not to hit any Sindris and or not trash any Gecko Morias. If you happen to have Gecko Moria in your hand, it's a great card to just trash in the beginning of the game because Hogback will bring it back when you need it. I suggest using Hogback on turn 3 if you're trying to recall your Gecko Moria for your next turn. Generally speaking, you don't need to keep him in your hand unless you're worried about your opponent mainlining effects that remove cards from your trash, which do exist if I'm not mistaken. You don't generally see that though, so I wouldn't be too concerned about trashing Gecko Moria earlier unless you have a better card to trash in something like Ores. All right, I think with that, we could probably begin. Again, I'll encourage you to ask any questions in the comments of other Gecko Moria players or myself on this particular build. Take it as a blueprint, of course. The more times I play this list, the more it informs me about changes I should make depending on the meta I'm facing. Right now, this is what I've sort of solidified for the deck, and I quite like it. I guess the only thing I can cover for you guys that I didn't necessarily in depth is just the cards that aren't in the list. I've gone over Rob Lucci. I've gone over what I consider to be a good card in our Lola. The only thing I didn't discuss is potentially something like Kobe. I know this is an odd include, but it is playable off of Gecko Moria 8 cost, of course retrievable with Becca. The only reason we're not using it is that Kobe is playable off of Gecko Moria and Rebecca, where this 4 cost Kobe is not. However, you don't have to discard a card to use this effect, so there's a lot of great recurable value here, especially if you are playing out your blocker Cerberus. You notice we only have 8 blockers in the list between the play sets of Rebecca and Cerberus. And lastly, I would say this stage is something that I've seen people play and is maybe a consideration. I don't think at this point there are enough great targets. If you're using a Nupe or Tereran, perhaps, right, you want on-play effects. Yes, we do have one in Sindri. This is amazing with Thriller Bark. However, it's not an excuse to run it. If you have any of these in the list, more oftentimes than not, it will be your discard fodder, because unless you're seeing Sindri consistently, you're not going to want to use it. Also, playing out Cerberus for free, right? You do need to pay 1 into the stage to play the 1 to 2 drop down. Playing it rested hurts. That's why I say you want on play or when they leave play, you want some sort of effect to get the most out of it, right? So if it doesn't say KO or on play, I don't think it's very good. And right now, for our particular list, so far as Thriller Bark is concerned, it's just Sindri. All right, first game. Let's see what happens. I'm feeling pretty good about this list. So far as matchups are concerned, there aren't too many bad matchups for this deck. I have to say, Yamato banishing things from OP06 isn't the worst thing to see with Gecko Moria. You obviously would, hey, there you go, Yamato. You would really prefer to have those cards in hand. Here, I feel okay going second, but we'll go first. There's just a little bit of advantage with it. This is a decent hand, but I do want to see if we could find a Sindri, ideally, if we're on the play. No Sindri. Okay. But yeah, funnily enough, we see Yamato. So again, the banish here, we don't have any 2Ks in hand, and the double attack is real. Hopefully we'll see something that we'll get a 2K to hand, but very doubtful. Kazuki Hiyori is a pain in the butt, by the way. You'll see it in a second, I'm sure. Most of Yamato's deck is I've found just mid-range so far as levels are concerned, and that's where they stop. We will do the thing here. We're going to kill Momo, obviously. We don't really like wasting our time on Momo, but that is the case here. We can play Perona, honestly, and I don't mind that, but we can also get Perona out next turn. Let's just do ores. It makes the most sense. We want to start threatening life here. Now, the issue I've found with Yamato list is sometimes they tend to overcommit on the double attack. And while it is a good play, if you don't build up your board state or have ways of removing your opponent's board state, it could be a detriment because all the double attack isn't going to amount to a board of like 4 to 5 things swinging at you. This is Hiyori. So you set up basically your perfect top deck or top of life play, I should say. The thing I've seen that's kind of cool is like the 6-cost stage with trigger. I don't know how frequently that is played, but I've seen it and it's okay. They are taking time to figure this one out. Ooh, hopefully a good one. If they Dawn up twice, I'll take draw 2, I think, at this point. Yeah. It's okay. I would rather this than have to deal with like the Nami turn. Again, Nami is the banish equivalent for this list. I also really wanted to see if I could hit anything. Really wanted to see a Sindri off the top of my life there, but that's okay. We got our 5 Dawn turn, so let's just do the thing. We're going to bring back, let's see here. We've got options. If we kept 2 Dawn open, we can play Cerberus, which I'm actually okay with right now. We will use the ability. Let's go ahead and discard. In this instance, I think Helmeppo. We don't really need Helmeppo out right now. Yeah, Helmeppo. All right, and from our grave, I think that Perona is the best option here. We're just going to use this to make them trash a card, right? We'll let Perona die to ores so we can get an attack off, and then keep bringing back Perona. So this is another interesting synergy for the list. I highlighted Sindri because it's arguably the best synergy for the deck. But generally speaking, I gotta say, okay. Well, you know what? Sometimes you just hit Thunderbolt, and that's okay, because we'll get ores back later. It's one of the things you can't account for with yellow. Like, luck is such a huge factor. You could have potentially 4 of these in the list. I don't know if they actually run that many. But when it happens, it's annoying. And it happens with frequency. I gotta say, Thunderbolt, it's been popular since it released in OP03, and it's consistently popular, especially for the trigger, because there's no detriment to it at that point. Like 2 for kill 5 is amazing value. You know, here we could just take the block. The issue is they have their 4 for 6 that says if I have 3 or less life, they gain a life. I'm 100% positive. Like, that is exactly what's going to come down right now. And we're just going to have to suffer that. I can keep reanimating the Cerberus, though, should I like. And I think I might just want to pull Sakazuki out. I don't know. That was weird. Generally, it doesn't really matter removing my board. I guess they're a little bit worried about damage, but we've got all of the Rebeccas in the world, and I don't ever remember saying that Rebecca is the best play at this stage, although I think I might have highlighted it as a potential play. We will do the thing with Gecko Moria here, and I think we'll make them discard again. Again, it's really what I want to be doing. So we can go this deep, right? We want to play Rebecca out here as well. We will go just this deep and then attack. We're going to keep recurring. Of course, we'll get rid of Great Eruption. Against this deck, again, their curve is relatively low. They might be playing the Fishman that taps things down. And, you know, if we get hit by it, we get hit by it, and it's fine. But we will bring Perona back to make them discard. I feel good with this decision. And, you know, just punish them for making us remove her. I want to see if Hogback has any good targets right now. He doesn't. Again, Hogback's best target is going to be your 8-cost Gecko Moria. Rebecca right now kind of wants to hit Sakazuki. Again, like, it's cute, but it's very playable late game. I would prefer if we had a 2k counter to put to hand, but in this instance, we're just going to have to rely on Sakazuki, I think. We're good with that. And we will play brand new out to pull. There's Gecko Moria. We have Sakazuki. I will grab a Suru, and that's that. We're good with this. They might have removal for Rebecca at this point, but they have been bleeding cards, and we haven't been able to do anything to hit their life, so we'll see. I mean, Oh, you know what? Thunderbolt was the thing they set up, wasn't it? Cute. Super cute. That's why Kazuki Hiyori, by the way, is so good. It's OP06, like the new It 2K counter. It's just very, very good. So this is a cute play. I could get out of it with my own Becca and then just force them to have a solution, which I think I will because I don't really mind this exchange. I kind of want to use Hogback to get my own Gecko Moria back, and then I'll get this Rebecca back later. One of the two. I don't mind leaving this up. Like, make your Izo play worse. Like, go for it. Use Yamato to attack Rebecca. I would love that. Now, obviously, I don't think they're going to be running any rushers in this build, so that might be the best thing they can do. I feel like they probably just want to focus my Prona so they don't bleed any more damage. You can do it. You can do it. Yeah, there you go. See, again, I don't mind this, but I don't know what this guy does. That's cool. That might get annoying. Obviously, Sakazuki is just sitting at us there, staring at us. But that's okay. So right now, our turn is looking pretty solid. We want to play Hogback and get our Gecko Moria out of our graveyard. That's going to take up 3 of our Dawn, though. And we have, well, 6 more Dawn to play with. We could technically still play Sakazuki and remove this, but it's not that good of a play. I honestly don't mind just playing our other Rebecca. Let's do that. So let's go here. Let's just go. We can commit 2 to this attack, but I feel like the 1 is going to be enough. And with 6 Dawn, we can play Rebecca and Cerberus. Like, I'm good with all these things. But let's do this first, the easy choice. Sorry. Just get that out of the way. Then we should do this. Yes, yes. Use the card action. Here, I don't like it, but we can just get rid of Kobe. I want to keep the Sakazuki potentially, but I don't feel like it's meaningful play against this list so far. Yes, it could kill this Denjiro, but I might just eat the attacks from the Denjiro and be fine with that. We will use Hogback's effect here. I generally start with the events. We don't have anything to recover events in this deck, so those are easy choices. And we'll get back Gecko Moria. Even if we were on 10 Dawn, you're never able to retrieve Gecko Moria and play Gecko Moria on the same turn, sadly. Sure. Okay. So we're going to do this. We'll recover. Again, we'll probably just recover the Sakazuki and we'll play Kobe out to kill the Izo. Right? And just discard Sakazuki. Like, that's totally fine. Choose a character to play. Use the card action. We're going to trash the Sakazuki. We will just kill Izo. That's fine exchange. And then we'll also play out Cerberus. Cerberus is going to cover our brand new here. Good exchange. And lastly, let's get some damage in. Yeah. So if this is not the Thunderbolt, we've got 2 attacks from characters and obviously Yamato. We have 2 blockers. This is where they whip out the 8 or 9 cost Fishman or whatever, and they tap everything down. Good bit of news is we've been sitting on 2 key counters this whole game, so if they tap our blockers down, it's fine. I wish I could remember the name for you guys. It's like this new Fishman. That's all the rage. You have to take like the top card of your life at the end of it, but it has rush, so it can attack. We just need to stave off the rest of these attacks. I think all they're doing is weighing whether or not that's a good choice or not, which it's probably not, genuinely. It's probably better that they go with a blocker, because at this point, they're representing 4 cards in hand and 1 life. It's not looking good for them. And I don't mind blocking with either of these with Gecko Moria right there in my hand. So we'll see what they do. Okay, that turn took them a while. So they're using Reject to remove my Hogback, which is fine. They've double Dawned using, I'm assuming, her ability, right? Because that thing is 4. So her other ability, I know people are mostly looking at Yamato right now as just a double attacker, which is very true. She is a double attacker. But yeah, it's the other effect of giving Rested Dawn to one of your characters is super good. And it gets active as soon as you hit at least once. Here, I'm okay losing the Rebecca. It's totally fine. I wanted them to think that it matters we keep these around. In truth, it doesn't. Really? I think we can stave off most of these attacks. Right, so you can attack the characters. I'm okay taking life here, genuinely. Genuinely okay taking life, because a 4K and a 5K swinging soon is very good. If this is 3 Dawn for a blocker, that's great. I guess Brûlée or something. Kill the Kobe, because you know you can get it. Make it a 2 for 1 for me. I'll let Kobe die. I will keep Perona around, if that's the question. There you go. Yeah, I will have to let that die. Maybe they have a 3 Dawn event. I have no idea. We're probably going to do the Rebecca, Helmeppo, Kobe combo. Cool. Dawn. Yeah, okay. We've got a just off the top of our deck, a Kobe in hand, so we can actually pull whatever we want from our graveyard here. I kind of want to keep the 2Ks in hand. I'm actually okay just swinging Perona into Neko Mamashu. We don't need to Dawn him up or anything, I don't think. We can go 7 over our opponent though later, but let's do this. See if we can do it. Okay, they're saving for a Brûlée. They must have some, I have no idea what else they have in their hand, but it's not going to be very effective. I will try to get the kill on Denjiro here. I'll go 1, 2, 3 over. I need 1. No. We cannot use the Gecko Moria effect. So we'll just go 1. 1 over. 1 over. Yeah, what the hell? We can go 2 over. Make him use a 2K. Yeah, let's see it. We might as well just force Neko Mashu. And this will let us play out something else with our Rebecca combo instead. Like we don't need to go that route. We can just go with something else. We don't need to go Rebecca into what we've been doing. Let's just force the case on Neko Mashu. No ability. I don't know if I have another Perona in my grave, although I would really like a 2K. Like we don't have Sindri or anything else there. Yeah, there aren't that many great hits, sadly. Okay, cool. So yeah, we will play this. We will recover. Hogback could bring back a 1K to hand minimally. It wouldn't hurt to do like a brand new. It's always good to do Rebecca. Right, so we'll do Rebecca as our blocker, and then we can drop a 2 and under now. It could be Cerberus, or it could be brand new. Again, I wouldn't mind just fishing for something else. Yeah, we're gonna go for brand new here. We'll do brand new's ability first. There's the Synergies. That's okay. We'll dump all of those. But I think we kind of just want counter power here. Again, we can't Kobe this guy, so not too worried about that. The best counter power we're looking at is Absalon or Hogback, so, or just the other Kobe. Just the other Kobe. Sure, we'll do the other Kobe. And I will elect not to play anything from my hand. There's no sense in it. We could just lay down a 4K. Yeah, let's do it. End of turn. Why not? Why not? Like, I don't see why not. We might have needed the counter power, but they only have X amount of cards in hand. If they're able to remove, I don't see how they win here, I guess is what I'm saying. So I don't see that they can remove Rebecca and double attack me, which is fine. But I feel pretty safe with this setup right now. Right. So my turn is going to boil down to Absaloning the Brûlée out. They might have another Brûlée in hand too, so that's cool. But they're running low on cards, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. I'm okay taking damage from Denjiro. I will force them to have to remove Rebecca before ever taking damage from Yamato. So I'll take 1 damage from Denjiro. That's totally fine. Yeah, this guy was kind of the linchpin, I think, in that strategy. Oh, that's cute. So they want to force me to... That's fine. I mean, this is where Rebecca comes in handy, right? So I'll let Denjiro do his thing. You can hit me for 1. Or you can kill one of my things. Again, genuinely, I just put down the 4K so I had more bodies to swing. My next turn's probably going to look like if he doesn't go for Perona. Perona into life, Kobe into life. This is all after retrieving my Absalom. And then just doing a brand new into life as well. I feel like this is an attack on life. Or it should be? Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's see what they have. We're just gonna go again one over. We're gonna bring Absalom back. So we can actually go, we can do 7k over if we're feeling like it. Right? They probably have an event in hand. Probably. I mean, truth be told, we could just go for the Denji row and force the situation. Right? Would that be cute? Let's do that. So 1, 2, that's 7. Let's go 8. I'll use the effect. I'll drop ores. I'll play Absalom. I'll use the action. I don't think we have any events to ditch at this point, so I'm just going to get rid of some of the duplicates. We'll get rid of the Rebecca, and we'll get rid of one of the Sakazukis, and I'll get rid of this blocker. Oh, you know what? We fucked up. That's okay. You know, honestly, if they block, that's fine. Yeah. So we did mess up. That's okay. It's okay. Go. We'll do this. I still think we clinch it here. That card's okay. Sure. Right, and then we go 10k here. Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. We definitely did not notice Brûlé was a level 3 card, but yeah, that's that matchup. But we can go ahead and do another game for you guys. I want to get at least 3 in, so you guys get a feel for how this deck is supposed to operate. We did some cool things on that game. We will go first here. You know, we really want to make sure we're able to hit that curve and start threatening his life early. This is a great starting hand against this particular Luffy. I love that red purple Luffy is being played so much. Genuinely more than I'm seeing purple Luffy in OP06, which is really cool. Especially because the Namis aren't banned. We really wanted to do... Shoot. We wanted to hit our boy. But that's okay. We did really want to hit ores for this matchup. But Absalom's not bad. We can Absalom the Nami out, or we can just use our Perona. I don't necessarily want to get rid of Perona here because I want to ditch her to attacks. But let's just go ahead. We will use the card action. We can get rid of Kobe comfortably as well if we wanted to, but I don't mind making them trash a card either. It's kind of goofy. Let's do Perona. Do Perona. I got all the Peronas in the world now. Make them trash your card. It's really fun threatening a list who only has 3 life, just threatening their hand every single turn. And we've got so many Peronas to do that. I just want to show you these Peronas to do that. Literally 3 of our 4 are right there. So happy to see it. Generally speaking, Luffy players, red purple Luffy players are not going to allow early damage, so he will just bleed through his hand here. If we can do another Perona to make him discard again, that'll be amazing. Excellent with the 2k counters in our hand. This is a good excuse to play Absalom, though, I will say. We have a way to do it pretty easily as well. So we can actually swing both Perona and Gecko Moria here and kill Zorojuro, right? If you see it. So we've got 4 mana to do the thing. And of course, we'll do this. Let me just double check Absalom is there. I don't want to mess this up again. KO 2 or less. 2 or less, folks. It's going to be this. We'll go here, go here, go here. The thing we're going to pitch in this juncture is the Kobe. I kind of like having Kobe just there for Rebecca, but it's not quite necessary. I don't mind pulling the Cerberus out late game with Gecko Moria's ability, but we will just get rid of the Kobe here, I think. Seems good. Soul Trash Kobe. We will bring back Absalom. I will use the effect. We're going to kick the event and the extra Sakazuki. We'll kill this. Hit for 6, hit for 6, pass. This seems good. Again, they try not to lose too many cards from their hand at this point, but maybe they'll take this damage. It would be cool if they did. If they didn't hit a jet pistol or some removal, that would suck. But again, I haven't seen too many jet pistols at this juncture. But there we go. That's right. We're on the counter step, sir. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. It might have been better to keep the Jean Bard. I don't know what they have in their hand, but I'm curious to see now. I feel like Perona's not long for this world, and that's okay. Like, I am totally okay. Oh, cool. More draw. I think we will take this as well. Like, I'm totally fine with this. Cool. Hey, there's the Kobe back. Sure. Magellan. So we have the ability to kill that Magellan, but we're only 2 cards away from having Gecko Moria online. I almost feel like we should wait on removing the Magellan and just smack face here, and smack face in a meaningful way. So we could go for damage and see if they draw. If they draw and we pull out Perona, we can make him discard. Feels pretty good. So it's going to be, we need 4 Dawn for Rebecca potentially. Right, so we could do 4 Dawn and we wouldn't have enough for Gecko Moria's effect. Or we could do Cerberus, have enough mana for Cerberus and still use Gecko Moria's effect and attack with one of these 2. That seems okay. We'll attack with the, in this instance, we'll attack with the Absalom. I wouldn't mind getting that back in my grave. So we could keep forcing this situation. Let's go here and attack. And we'll use the card action. I do want to keep Cerberus up as a blocker, and I think it's okay to just, again, get rid of the Kobe here. I do want to just hard cast... Well, that's not even true, because if I get rid of Perona here... Not Perona, excuse me. If I get rid of Rebecca here, we can just bring it back next turn with Gecko Moria. Unless they, you know, play another Magellan, which is what it is. It's totally fine. I think we just hog back here. Or we just do double blocker. Does that mean? I don't know. Let's do hogback so we have another attacker. Like, I'm fine. I'm fine with just the 1 blocker for now. We'll use this. We'll get rid of one of the Rebeccas and one of the Peronas. And I will return a Perona to my hand. Cool. Any trigger? Any trigger? No triggers. Okay. We'll play Cerberus. Double Cerberus would have been funny, though. I'm not going to lie. But I don't think they're going to commit too much Dawn on this turn. Like, they set themselves back with that Magellan. If they didn't do that, they would be able to activate Luffy's ability and really punish us, but they don't have that potential now. So if they're holding on to a Kaido, that really sucks. They're going to have they're going to be really hard pressed to play out another Magellan at this point, and I would honestly be totally fine with that. You tap down Cerberus. Okay. I have so many 2K counters in hand that I'm literally okay with just letting these all fly, especially now. Like, I'll keep this board state if it means murking him. Some of this board state. Like, the Magellan is probably going to come at life. Probably. Okay. So we're going to need to let some things on my board die anyways. So sure. Sure. And we did attack with him because we wanted the recurable value from him. I would rather not see this go, genuinely speaking. So we can use, it feels weird to go 2K over to keep it alive, but I would rather keep the free blocker if I can on the next turn. So we can get rid of the Kobe. Or Rebecca can pick it back up and play it. It's totally fine. That's it, right? Like, they've got 1 Dawn. They've got 1 Dawn and no blockers. Oh, okay. It was just tapping. That's fine. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. Like, I'm fine with them committing their attacks that way. We do want to just threaten life here, because we should have the game, right? So we might as well. I mean, I think it logics to play Gecko Moria here, but it also just logics to do this, right? Use your Radical Beam. Go for it. At this point, again, we could go 11 deep here, and they could do 10. If we do 1, 2, 3, so if we just do this, right? Oh, let's just threaten it. I don't know. This could be bad. Could be good. They'll have the event. They'll have Rat Beam. Hey, there we go. Well, that worked out in our favor. Nice. So it's kind of cool now. You get to see their hand with the current version of the app, 1.2b. But yeah, it's cool seeing red purple Luffy. I honestly don't like Magellan as much as other players. Like, Magellan is pretty heavily played, and I find that the issue with Magellan in purple lists, especially purple Luffy and red purple Luffy, is that yes, it does set your opponent back, but you are really stunting your late game. So we can do one more against Portgas. This should be interesting. Again, I wanted to, no offense to Portgas, but I did want to play against some meta decks. I wouldn't say that Portgas is like outrageously good, but it might kick my butt here. So we'll soon find out. Of course, we're going to play Sindri. We need to look at what we grabbed. Amazing. We're going to use those Pironas very early, and we've got 2 hogbacks to pull back any of our Gecko Morias that get trashed. Yeah, so Portgas is interesting because, you know, he came out in set 3, and for set 6, there really aren't too many new utilities, so I'm curious to see what it's playing in red that sort of bolsters this package, because a lot of this is sort of the same thing we've seen for a while now, which is totally fine. But I guess I'm not too concerned by it. We'll use the effect, obviously. We'll swing for 6. And we're going to go ahead and ditch. I think it's fine for us to get rid of Great Eruption here. I would rather keep the counter power. And obviously, Sakazuki is going to be great for us later as well. So we'll do that. We'll go for Pirona. Make them trash a card. Did they got a Fire Fist for me? They might. They might have a Fire Fist for me, which would suck. I will take this damage. I definitely want all the damage I can ingest. Well, I don't want this damage, though. I might get rid of my Sindri here. He should go 2 over. Yeah, that's the logical play. I'll take this. That's fine, too. There we go. There's Gecko Moria. That is exactly what we want to see at this juncture. Okay, so first thing we should do is Sindri into Makino. Very easy choice. Okay. We could do Pirona into Buggy. Maybe they keep it around. Okay, they did not. We have options here, but I think we just Dawn up and play out a Hogback potentially, or the Pirona again. So we can do 1. We don't really need to keep Dawn open for anything unless we wanted to play our other Sindri here. And we've got a lot of good cards in our grave already. I don't think we need to play the other Sindri, so we could go ham here if we want. Let's just do 2 over. Let's do 2 over. So I'll trash at this point. Our next turn really is looking like Sakazuki, but I'll get rid of the Helmeppo. We don't quite need it in our hand, especially when we were looking at Gecko. I will play the other Pirona and make them trash. Now, technically, you know, it might have behooved us to play Sindri first because we could have hit our ores, but I definitely want to just make them keep discarding, especially with all of the card advantage they're getting out of those early red plays. So I'm fine with this. Totally fine with this. And let's go. I don't know what happens. Fire Fist. So they killed the thing. Cool. Okay. I'll play Sindri and I will. There's the ores. That's it. That's good. So this turn, they're just off their Portgas play. Did he discard a card to get 7k? Oh, I guess he did. Yeah. You know, we don't necessarily need to take this, so I don't think I will. We're going to go ahead and do a Suru and a Kobe here. Oh, nope. Suru and a Helmeppo here. I don't mind if he dons up Iso and like tries to go in, because that's just another thing we can use Sindri to kill. And genuinely, I think we Pirona again. This is weird. This game has been going very, very weirdly. Yeah, we'll do this. They could keep it alive. They might. Don't usually like investing Dawn into those kind of actions. Sakazuki's not a very playable card at this moment. He will become playable, I assume, very soon. We want to get to our Gecko Moria turn. So what is going to help us best establish that? I think at this juncture, again, it probably is best to just go for ores. So if we do 1, 2, 2, we've got 5 Dawn left. We can double up on Pirona as well. Nah. Yeah, if we want to use the effect, do this. Let's see here. I'm going to get rid of, sadly, probably Kobe. I wanted to play brand new on my turn, but I'm not sure it makes the most sense at this point. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. But we'll go for our Perona again. Yeah, Perona again. I kind of just like making him discard. It's been fun. Although it would be nice to start pressuring him with a bigger body. Let's pressure him with a bigger body. So let's see what they do. I feel like it's been really weird. It's like kind of glitchy with like the damage they're taking. Not sure what that's about. We'll go heavy on the Perona here. This one can die. That's fine. He'll probably want to kill these things off. The good bit of news is that we'll be able to recover any of it back with our... fine, that's fine. It needed to happen eventually, so I don't mind seeing the Radical Beam now. Although it's very weird, like, we're done with the restrictions here stateside, so, and I don't think they've ever been restricted on Radical Beams in the East. So it's weird seeing more than one Rad Beam. I always think there's just going to be... there's just going to be the one in the deck. This could be a Portgas turn. Oh, it could be a Marco turn. Look at that. Good old blocker Marco. Honestly, fine taking this damage if it's coming my way. It is not coming my way. That is going to have to be okay. All right, so to start, we should... two Gecko Morias. We should probably just begin with this and force this situation here. They can block and then do the thing. Yeah, cool. Cool. So right now the best thing to do is just to go again. Just go to life this time. We're not going to use the action though. And we'll do the Gecko Moria. So Gecko is going to do that same combo I've been illustrating again with, just to make sure, we've got Meppo and we've got a Kobe we discarded earlier, right? No, Kobe's in our hand. Look at us. So we're going to bring back Rebecca. Then we're going to bring back Helmeppo. Helmeppo is going to go first. We might as well threaten this. It's just a free kill. It's probably the most sensical thing to do here would just be to get a 2k counter, so we will. I will use her effect though to play Kobe, and we're gonna trash Sakazuki at this point. Because when we block with Rebecca, we're totally gonna make sure we bring her back with our other Gecko Moria. All right, that's totally fine. Like, I'm fine with them losing cards from her hand at this point. We do have another Becca engraved to just combo out again. Let's see what they do, though. I'm very curious as to what their turn's going to look like. They might, again, at this point, you know, they could throw out a bunch of rushers and just blitz us. So, who knows? I've not seen Portgas in OP06 whatsoever. So, no idea what's going to happen here. That's okay. The Marcos are fine. I just don't feel like they're very good against this matchup anymore. With the fact that our trash is so easily accessible and they have so few cards in hand, I think we can probably pressure them down. This has to be going at ores. There's no reason to keep ores around at this point. So this makes total sense. Yeah, it's gonna happen. Okay, so we're at 10 done, which means that we can get an attack off. We can get an attack off with Kobe at 6 or Meppo at 5. Or we can do... There's a couple of things we can do. I think the first thing we do is just threaten with Kobe here. There's no reason not to. They definitely need the card draw. They use an event and they got Portgas. Cool. So they got Rush Portgas. That's good. So again, we've got no reason not to do this. So we might as well do, again, 6k in. No card action. I forget what games we've even played today. But we'll do this. And we'll bring back, again, I don't think I have another Kobe in here. Do I not? We want to kill Kobe in a second to bring Kobe back. So let's do, because we have 2 Helmeppos. I've got Absalom too, though, actually. So I could do Absalom, but I can't do Absalom off Becca. So we want to make sure we do Becca. And then we'll do, for our 2-drop, Helmeppo again. Helmeppo is going to cover our Kobe. And we'll do Helmeppo first. We can threaten either one of these. He needs to loose an event or loose the blocker. This is fine. So we'll do this. We'll get Kobe. We'll play Kobe. Kobe's going to cover up our other Meppo. We'll use the card action. I'll get rid of Hogback, and I'll threaten your blocker. Does it resolve? Probably not. This event is nothing but Whitebeard Pirates. So, but the good bit of news is it's tapped. So let's go. Probably have the counter power, right? Yes? No? Yay! And we got the DC. Okay. So guys, I did we do 3 games? I wanted to do at least 3 games for you guys. You know, I'm going to assume that was 3. Right? Because we did Yamato. I don't even know. Let's do another game. Again, I want to show you guys the meta. I don't know how many games we've done so far. I've literally lost track. I'm just enjoying playing. But I hope you guys are seeing the play lines as they unfold. Hey, cool. My old favorite. This should be fun. And this will actually be tough. I do not foresee this going well for us. If we're on the play and they get a free draw, we definitely want to have Sindri. This is a much better start for us. We'll draw, we'll Sindri, and we will pass. All right. So you can see why I use Kobe in a lot of these instances. It's just the best combo in tandem with Becca and Gecko Moria. This is bad for them. They did not see their Perona. They can get their blocker Doffy out next turn if they want to wait, or they can just go balls to the wall. So good luck to them. We're probably going to make them discard with Perona in a second. Let me just see what I have in my grave too, because we do not have a Perona in the grave. Yeah, might as well. Right? Well, so trash the P-Rones, do the effects. It's rare. I feel like 9 out of 10 times when I use Perona, I generally like to go -3 on my, I generally like to make them trash a card. It's rare that I ever do the -3 aspect of her, even though it's very, very good. It's just not common. Obviously, we're going to have to take damage here, and that's fine. And there you go, blocker Duffy. Cool. So my only issue right now is that we don't have any removal in sight. We would really want Absalom in the grave at this very moment. We could Sindri before we do our turn. There you go. We can Sindri before we do our turn, but now the issue is, how do we bring this within a killable range, right? Remember, it does not kill level 3s. So, we're not going to kill blocker Doffy this turn. He's just going to have to exist. The worst we can do to him right now is just lay our own blocker down, I guess, and or get Sindri back out. I don't think it would hurt us to lay our own blocker down, though. So we'll go 1. I'll attack for 6, which is 2 over, at least, our boy. We don't need Absalom in the hand, necessarily, so I don't mind getting rid of him here. I will bring back Ores, actually. Excuse me. It's a much better play. Force them to use their worlds on that, and then we'll attack with our own Perona for 7. And you can block this if you want. Okay, cool. Generally speaking, I feel like this blocker Doffy is more of an attacker. In a lot of instances, like 4K is pretty solid. Let's see what they get off the top. Probably they're, okay, this is good. 4 for 6 is good. I think we just take this. I think we're okay with the damage for now. Hey, another blocker. Cool. But we have Helmeppo now. So hopefully they attack with this. No, never mind. They don't have any Dawn for that. But we are definitely going to want to kill at least one of these blockers and just get in there for some damage. So let's do that. Oh, Sakazuki, where are you now? It's not soon enough to run out our Rebeccas, so I'm not concerned about them. We have Hogback in the hand, which can recover another Gecko Moria, which is not a bad idea. I think we ditch the Hogback here, though, and we'll grab Absalom, and we'll use Absalom with Helmeppo to clear one of these 2 blockers. So that's going to be 2, minimum of 5, right? So we'll have 3 Dawn left to play with. That's not so bad. So let's just start with the Helmeppo. I'll get rid of, actually we could just kill Gecko Moria. What am I talking about? Let's do that. We'll kill Gecko Moria. So we go 1, and we go 2 deep, and we have 2 more Dawn to play with afterwards. That seems good. We'll do this right now with what's in our grave. I know I said we can ditch the Hogback, but I honestly would rather get rid of the counterless card. So let's do that. We'll bring back Absalom. We use the action. We're going to get rid of Meteor Volcano. And at this point, we have duplicates of... Well, we're sitting on an ores on the battlefield. So I will get rid of this and I'll kill this. Truth be told, late game, we're going to want to use ores to kill our own Absalom if Absalom just doesn't die from our opponent, because we want to recur Absalom. Although we have another Absalom in the grave. Okay, so good. So yeah, we'll go 7 over, see what they do. I think at this point, they're going to have to start forcing some blocks. Yeah. And we'll do this, do the same thing. We want to get rid of Sindri. We have another Sindri in hand for next turn. We're definitely going to play that Sindri out. They're getting close to their Mihawk turn. So generally speaking, again, I said generally speaking a lot. I play a lot of Doffy, and the build doesn't change too much going into these later sets. I don't know what Doffy players are doing in OP05 because I've stopped playing it because Gecko Moria is just better, and I'm waiting for that. But I really do like this list. There are a lot of really cool utilities you can play with. It is time consuming doing all the top deck manipulation. I just like looking at a trash, really. But these are cool playables in this list, obviously. We're going to keep this alive. They need to work much harder if they want to get rid of our stuff. And we've got 2 Beckas to fool with, so there's no reason. Cool. All right, so we can actually get out of this too. And to be frank, I kind of want to punish them for not doing enough. So, yeah, I think we do. So we'll get rid of this, and we'll get rid of the Hogback. Nice. So we have a Gecko Moria turn. So right now I'm thinking that it would be kind of cute to do this to start. They have a love beam maybe, or something they're holding on to. This is like a weird... This is not the time to use it, but cool. We can just go vanilla, and I think we just go vanilla all the way. Right? We'll just force any sort of counters out of hand. They can block here, save it, whatever. They could just be threatening the love beam. How about that? Again, I like both of these, but we can get rid of the Perona at this point, I think. So we'll do that. Actually, is there anything else we'll bring back with Gecko? Maybe we bring back... We've worked this hard to keep her alive, right? No, we're about to fill up the board with a bunch of shit. We need to get rid of that. You can see why, though, Gecko's like really solid. There's just a lot of value in having your complete trash at your disposal. We do have a way to get rid of this blocker, so we can do that now. It's probably going to be the same trick you've seen me do this whole game. We're going to do Becca, and then we'll do Helmeppo. The Helmeppo that comes in is going to be placed over top of the other Helmeppo. Why not? We'll do Helmeppo's ability first. Target this. We'll get the Kobe. We'll play the Kobe and select a card to draw from trash. No. I don't know why it's saying that, but we're going to replace the here, use the card action. We'll get rid of the other Helmeppo and just remove the blocker and pass. So we've got one blocker around. Blue notoriously doesn't have much haste, but they could have like I don't know, they could have like a 10 cost Kaido for turn. They could have a 10 cost Kaido. There you go. That's cool. So that's like a lot of draw, right? So you get 3 cards. Sorry, you draw 4 cards if you have 3 or less life. I think that's kind of a cool trick. I wasn't, again, I don't really know what these modern decks do. So it's kind of neat to see. I think we just go to Pound Town, like 2 over, minimally. We're going to start here because we want to get the ores play off. So we'll do 2 in hand, 2 in hand. We're just going to keep... Okay, wow, that's bad. They only have a lot of 1Ks. That hurts. 1, 2, 3. We'll go for another 7K. And I think we'll do another just 7K. Kill this. Attack here. Right. So this informed everything. Yeah. Oh, we don't get to see their hand. They disconnected. No. Okay, so at that point, you should just don the heck out of your Gecko Moria. We would have been swinging for 14k. If they were able to survive that, we would swing with Gecko. They're in a very bad spot, though. They didn't use Doffy's ability much for anything. I think they only got one thing off of it, which was the 4-for-6 Gecko Moria, right? Which is really good. You can see why I don't play it. Like, I have the same thing with Lola here, but it just makes more sense to do the synergy with Ors and Sindri or anything else, really, right? Like, at that point, Absalon, just let him go. And then, you know, depending on how things went, I could use Gecko Moria to pull it back. 10 for 12 Kaido, it's fine. I mean, you just throw a Cerberus in front of it and you'd be fine. They would have to use swords, or they would have to use some removal to get rid of my shit, so... At any rate, that's it for the games. I hope you enjoyed this showcase, this deck profile of Gecko Moria for OP06. I love this deck. It will only get better as the game expands, right? So right now we're using Navy Synergies with Gecko Moria, our 8 cost for some combos. And of course, you are committed to Thriller Bark Pirates, but as it stands, they all have really meaningful effects. Like, they're all very good. Would it have been neat to see Gecko Moria in blue-black for some other Thriller Bark Pirates? We don't necessarily need those geckos, but maybe that double attacking one could have been fun to fool with. There might have been something there, but I like mono black Gecko Moria a whole lot. I will be playing so much of this when the set releases stateside. Again, if you found this video enjoyable, I encourage you to leave it with a like. It goes a long way here. And of course, subscribe to the channel and hang out, because every Wednesday we do live stream deck techs here on the channel, so I'll encourage you to check those out. We're probably gonna do every other moving forward, so you can view a pre-recorded deck with gameplay, something that I've sort of solved or mastered in some sense. But again, take this however you will. Consider this a blueprint. I'd love to see what kind of list you've brewed for Gecko Moria. I'm obsessed with it. But until next time, see you, Nakama.